What's going on, everybody? Another Sunday that was a banger, and we're back on Monday. Very fun stream yesterday. Shout out to everybody who was there. We hit a couple of big ones to start off the day. Got a little bit of lag on my end. Are we back? I think we're back. All right, so let's dive in as always. All right, there we go. Sorry about that, boys. Was a little bit of lag, but we are back. Microsoft, I have Microsoft freaking Chrome was bugging out on me, but we are good to go now. Let's do it. 1 second to get out a quick promo for X, and we're diving right in for the Monday night stream. To 1 anytime touchdown. That was a smash. And let's try to do what we could see what we can do tonight. We have a really fun interconference game. Of course, the Chargers hosting the Birds. Both teams really must win at this point. Philly has control of the NFC East, though Dallas not dead, especially if Philly loses this one. And then we have the Chargers trying to surpass Denver, keep the Chiefs out of the playoff picture, who suffered a tough loss last night to the Texans. But enough of that. Let's dive into this one. So we've seen some movement here, and let me get rid of some of these books. I don't want to see Sleeper, Prize Pick, Underdog. Do I want to see Profit, Novig, no Fliff over here. Score Bet is ESPN Bet. As we guys should know, they rebranded after a pretty failed attempt to not really dominate any market share. But we got an hour, so let's dive in. I think that the Chargers are absolutely live here, and we've seen the market flip on this game. Flip's not the right word, but we have seen it move pretty big time here with the Chargers being 3. We know that there was the Justin Herbert finger injury, and if we were on stream on Wednesday, I was talking about how I definitely expected him to play. He dealt with an injury to his left hand a couple of years back, and then still played in that game that was on short rest, and he's good to go. LAC is locked and loaded, and then as we see, 2.5, getting closer to game time. 1.5 now for the Chargers. It's a little too late to bet the 1.5 now, considering that, it's an hour until game time. All the value was like really sucked out. But I do think that LA is absolutely live. And looking at the injury report, AJ Dillon, the DNP CD. So maybe with some Tank Bigsby love to be had. Jalen Carter, shoulder surgery. He is out. Sam Howell, not back up. Lane Johnson, another person who was out massive for the Birds OL. Elise Ojolari, Josh Uche, linebacker, he's out. So pretty significant injury report for the Birds, even though it's not like a massive injury report. Then on the Chargers front, we know their OL has been struggling all year. We got Joe Alt out. Tyler Conklin with the DNP CD, meaning we might be able to see some Will Dissly tonight. Najee Harris, we know, of course. Omar Hampton is back. Rashawn Slater. So a tough OL. Herbert with the left hand injury. Should be wearing a little bit of a cast, but should be good to go. Now, I haven't bet it, but I do like the Chargers tonight, and I'm going to find a way to get in on it, even though the market has moved and I thought it's going to be sitting on like a pretty number. We'll find some ways to incorporate the Chargers in some teasers, or not teasers. I wish back in the teaser day. Now that the pricing there is screwed, but in some ways. And I haven't looked at any of the boosts yet today. Let's see what we got, but we'll definitely be finalizing all the boosts we have, as well as any other promos. FanDuel, we got 25% SGP boost. No King of the End Zone, man. That's annoying, but it is what it is. So we got that. And then let's check DK as well and see what we got. So something that I want to start with, we're going to start with props, but I do want to think about and talk about a bit. With Hampton back, my question is going to be how much love is Hampton really going to get? And is Vidal out of the picture? I don't think the answer to that question is yes. So we got a bunch of EV stuff already showing up here. I'm going to get rid of the exchanges for now, just because they're definitely sharper, and I want to see what we have from the other books first, and then we can dive into that. We got Flip and Fliff out of there. But first thing, we got Saquon over rushing attempts at plus 112 here. Let's see where we're deviating from. Penny at 105, FanDuel at even money. So this is only a 1% EV. So not dying to bet this. The Chargers doing pretty well against opposing rushers. I mean, from a season-long standpoint, defensively, 13th in rush yards. That doesn't mean they can't just feed Saquon. But something that we want to note, or I want to note, is that the Eagles' win-loss, like straight record without Lane Johnson over the last couple of years has actually been like abysmal. And that might not seem like a big deal, but like when you have one of your best offensive linemen and one of the best in football over the last like handful of years as well, he really is a massive part to what they do on the ground and also in pass protection for Hurts. A Herbert under at Hard Rock here, a Hampton under reception at Hard Rock as well. Yeah, these are pretty low EV, and also Hard Rock's not too widely available, but I do want to check out the market for anybody who is a Hard Rock bettor. No FanDuel to be added here, but I do think that this is actually, it's 1.23%, so maybe not the best. So we're going to manually look through some props and build out the 2 profit boosts that we have for tonight. Actually getting a $25 max on this one for DK today. So we maybe take some things a little bit lighter in terms of the odds and like go for a more of a winner here. But let's look at some props. Going to filter into the markets that we care the most about. And of course, just look at this game for tonight. I have not bet anything at all. And I know that it's obviously very close to game time. It's going to be a lot fewer EV bets popping up, but I don't think that means we can't get any value. We could definitely pick up some stuff that is being hit as we speak, capitalize on some things, and also like, fade some opinions as well. But got like the general markets we love. Of course, got to get some TDs in there. Have the over filter just to make it easy to see things. But of course, we'll bet some unders if we like them. But there he is. Let's just talk about Will Dissly, over half a receiving yard. Now, he's definitely not guaranteed to get a target, even in games that he starts. I mean, 1.3 per game in this 4, but Conklin is banged up or is just out DNP CD. So Dissly is you're really hoping for 1 target, 1 catch. The Birds against tight ends have been very good this season. Of course, with Gadsden being as good as he is, the Chargers have no shortage of studs to throw to in the tight end over the middle of the field. And one quick second here. I got to tweet out one more promo. Sorry. Also, we're using the outlier today, as always. If you're watching on X, you can click the link at the bottom of the tweet. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can click the description for a 7-day free trial if you're interested in an outlier. I gotta get a new computer, man. I don't think it's my internet. I think my computer's just dying. It's been using it for years now. But Will Dissly's interesting. But let's go back to the well here, and let's do one of our favorite games when it comes to Chargers. If you guys are new here, we always love to do this. Who has the best price to score a touchdown for the receivers? We know it's pretty much a mixed bag right now. We're seeing 235 profit, 230 FanDuel. No, I like Orlando Gadsden over receiving yards. Definitely don't have a negative sentiment to that. Dissly being in, like, that's 1 target a game. That's not a big thing. And then also the fact that they're not using Conklin, who hasn't really been used that much in the passing game. I mean, we go to targets here, 9 on the season with the Jets there. I think Gadsden's absolutely a good look, but we love looking at the receivers for the Chargers. For the Chargers, because they're always, all these guys are, definitely capable of scoring, and they do have the targets to boot, though. Keenan Allen's red zone targets have dipped, but we've been on lat a bit. And QJ, now that he's kind of back and healthy, his odds are the 265 mark. He's been also no stranger to the end zone this year. Birds defense, of course, been very good against receivers. They like to funnel things in front of them. And overall target share still Keenan leading the way. Ladd right there. QJ missed some time. So this 17.1% is probably a little bit underinflated of what it should be, or what they really think of him as a player. Obviously, QJ has had a great season. Trey Harris going on a bit, and then we got Gradson. Let's look at his touchdown odds: 295, 260 FanDuel. So from a straight EV standpoint, nothing really sticking out there. But let's go back into Keenan. 3.5 receptions. Now, Herbert, I don't anticipate there to be really any issues with Herbert today. Like, left hand, does that going to really stop him from running too much? I don't know if that's really going to happen. And I actually want to pivot quickly to Herbert, though. We're on receiving. Let's go to rush yards here, though. Not like Keenan's going to have a rush yard prop. Rush attempts, Justin Herbert. Touchdowns, 9-1 for an anytime at Profit X here. I actually kind of like a lot. That's high for Herbert, who only has one this year, but like does run a lot in the red zone. And I know he has the hand thing, but that could be inflating the price. But another question worth asking yourselves for this one too is how is who is going to run the tush push slash their QB sneak, right? Is it going to be Herbert with the broken hand on a 4th and 1 under center trying to get in a yard, or are they going to give it to who? Conklin's not playing. I probably would have expected Conklin. They can just give it to a back. Maybe they won't be in that situation regardless anyway. But I think that actually is a very valid question. But I want to look at Herbert rush yards because I don't think that, or I should say that I think that this number, wherever it is, I saw it earlier, 18 and a half. I think this is kind of like indicative of him not really trying to run too much, but I don't know if that's like a fact that I would lock and load. Look at this season. I mean, we know Herbert's had some big rushing games. We've been on him during some of these big rushing games. Attempts are low because Herbert does pick up big gains. And with Philly's defensive line being not that great, and we've talked about this a few times about how like actually having time in the pocket is probably better than having like a crazy pass rush in your face. You can scan the field, make a decision. And I'm actually liking this Herbert rush prop. This is 18 and a half. Let's see if there's a 17 and a half anywhere. Just Profit X, 16 and a half at Hard Rock, MGM at 125. DK's 14 and a half is 185. I mean, I don't think at this point I'm really like going to squabble over a couple of yards here. And I do think that kneel downs like could be in play because I do like the Birds outright. I mean, the Chargers to win this one. But 18 and a half here. Let's get a slip open on FanDuel and DK. And let's kind of build some of these out. We have boosts on both. Again, my FanDuel boost is, let's see, how much percent? Is 25%, while my DraftKings is 20%. My FanDuel max bet 10, my DraftKings max bet 25. So we'll see where we can get the best prices on certain things and lock them in. And then let's also pull up here FanDuel. And we'll build them out both ways there. What's going on, AEC? Well, thank you for hopping on in. What do you think about Jalen Hurts under 7.5 rushing attempts plus 112 at FanDuel? I actually don't like it from a ball knowledge perspective. Of course, you know what I'm going to say. If EV's EV, like I'm not going to dispute that. But I do think that Herbert might actually Hurts might actually have to run the football. And again, like I don't think the Chargers are going to be getting like immense amounts of pressure, even with the Lane Johnson injury here. But I do think that there will be more spots for Hurts to run. I think that their offense actually does need him to run to be like even competitive off the short week coming off the Bears. And actually what I'll do is I'll dive into some of the recent numbers. Not that they matter a ton, but Hampton over rushing. I mean, I kind of like that under, but let's go to Saquon just to go to Herbert quickly before we continue our builds on FanDuel and DK. I think that Hurts is going to have to run the ball. Let's go straight to attempts here. So we had only 4 against Chicago game. Obviously, they lost. Chicago dominated them on the ground in the trenches on both sides. 7 against Dallas, 10 against Detroit. Very heavy man coverage team, though. The Chargers are also a pretty heavy man coverage team, if I'm not mistaken. I should confirm that because I saw it. Actually, the Chargers are more of a zone team. I'm wrong on that. But still, I mean, look at this is when Philly was like doing well and winning football games, right? Like they're getting more rush attempts. They have a little bit of a lull. You're not seeing as much Hurts. Then again, still in like a lull. Game they won, game they lost, game they lost. Not getting Hurts involved. I wouldn't be shocked off the short week if they regrouped and said we have to get Hurts a bit more involved in the rushing game. And Dillon is a healthy scratch. Shipley does some good things on third down, and Tank Bigsby only 18 attempts on the year, which is nuts. Because I wouldn't say it's like nuts per se. They have Saquon Barkley, but let's get rid of the games of him on Jacksonville. Still not like I'm still waiting for the breakout because look at this. He's got 18 rush attempts, but rush yards. His line is 7.5. He had this 104 game against the Giants, a 34, 11 and 8 shutout against the Bears. I don't think he played a snap. That's the game where we were kind of on him. Part of me wants to because we had him in that Black Friday game, he didn't do crap where I'm like, okay, maybe this is the week where I want to get him involved. But it's just such a, you know, such a funnel for Saquon, Goddard, even when they throw the ball, Goddard, Brown, as well as, of course, Devonta Smith here. So I'm not really sure how I want to approach the rushing game for the Birds just yet. Herbert went up to 113. So something I do want to look at while I'm here is also want to take a peek at the um also want to take a peek at the um like most receiving yards markets and things like that. Most receiving yards, most rushing yards, because those are markets you always have some fun finding. And on my other screen, I just got another odd screen up just so while I'm looking at this, if anything moves, we'll be ready to go. Okay. So Brown 225, 285, 425. Johnson at 11 to 1 is interesting because he's a big play kind of guy. And I know Philly likes to keep things underneath. Herbert just moved on us, which is annoying. At FanDuel, it's still 18 and a half, though 112. So we're going to hopefully build off of that right there. I do want to keep looking at these markets. The fact that that just moved on us is like actually really annoying. But let me do this too. Another question again that we want to answer is like, what's Kamani Vidal's role going to be here? I've seen the market odds drop pretty big time for Vidal over the last couple of hours. I was monitoring it. Didn't really need to like get in because I was waiting for stream so we could get some things in at the same prices together here. But most receiving yards here. Let's see what this is. So QJ's 950 with him being 11 to 1 at DK. That's interesting. Devonta 295, 425 on DK, 280, 390 for Lad, 850 for Keenan. I don't really like Keenan. I actually would definitely prefer QJ. I think that's where we're going to start off today here. I'm going to bet that. So Herbert 19 and a half, we'll get rid of that because we're going to be utilizing that. We're going to be utilizing that in a different boost on FanDuel, but I'm going to go with most receiving yards, Quentin Johnston. Also can have some struggles getting targeted. I don't think this is like a massive edge here. I think this is just like a pretty poor price. That especially when we're configuring it to FanDuel. Game leaders, it's always different on the phone. Game leaders, receiving yards, QJ2. I like QJ for 11 to 1 for the most receiving yards of the football game. Now, I think that we know the cornerbacks for the Chargers are a little bit weak, but unless A.J. Brown is getting a massive funnel of targets, which the Birds just don't do, I'm not going to be, thinking that anything's really going to change. I think QJ has more upside. Also, getting healthier every single week, and so get some numbers back of that up here for QJ. I don't want rushing attempts. Give me receptions here. And Hampton, I'm actually kind of out on Hampton. I think that I'd rather still bet some Vidal stuff. We'll dive into that in a second. But QJ, again, on the season, missed a bunch of time, 25 receiving yards. Doesn't have a 100-yard game, but had a couple of really big games to start the season. Then a little bit of a lull because he wasn't like a high-volume guy. Then an injury, and then still hasn't found his rhythm just yet. But Keenan Allen, despite getting more targets, has his 119 game, his one blow-up game. The rest all pretty tame. Then Lad, of course, has a couple of big games, but again, nothing that's like out of the realm of like what QJ can do and is not even like so far off. And then Gadsden, who is also a bit of a sleeper here, had that monster game, and also has been pretty tame. So I feel really good about QJ at that price. And actually, speaking of QJ, I do want to look at his like overall receiving yard number because I don't think that while the Birds can clearly be ran on, we saw that last week with the Bears, especially with no Jalen Carter. I don't think that this is going to like really just like diminish the probability of them throwing. And I mean, 30 yards for QJ at FanDuel. That's at 142. What's his base price? I mean, I'll pull up FanDuel itself right here. Receiving yards right here. QJ 33 and a half. I actually like that. I don't think there's a need to go down to 29.5 at 142, and we're getting 33.5 at 112. I think that that's pretty negligible there from a price discrepancy. I'm adding QJ to this. Um, I still want to build it at DraftKings also, just because even with the 1 yard, there are always situations where like QJ same price, where like even if the prices are different at DK or FanDuel and they're worse, the SGP pricing is actually ends up being better at DK anyway. So always build your bets on multiple platforms. You have multiple boosts, even if you don't have boosts, if you're just betting parlays, because there can be discrepancies, even if it looks like it's obvious, like, oh, this one has two 10-to-1s, like it should be X. Even if one has two 950s, it might not be the same price. Herbert 20 plus minus 109. So that again did move on us because it was 18.5. Now it's 19.5. Don't feel the need to go down to like 15, but I guess I'm curious what it would be. So that's 176. This is 228 at 18.5. And I don't think FanDuel offers those 15 yards, do they? They do at 186. So if we got rid of that, it's actually still better at FanDuel. But the guy that I'm interested in backing in the touchdown market that I'll add to this, and I'll add to both and confirm or compare, I should say, is I'm still in on Kamani Vidal. Like, I don't think that Hampton is like necessarily due to like just take over the role. We got 850 at DK, and we have here at FanDuel for Vidal, who is priced at 260, 871. So I think that that's that. FanDuel boost, 25%. I'm building on my phone just to get in. I'm locking this in. Herbert 15 rush yards, Kamani Vidal anytime touchdown, and Quinston Johnston over receiving yards. I think that's a great way to go about it. Let's see. That's TD. So many markets. Receiving props, QJ over 33.5. Rushing props, 15 plus for Justin Herbert. I'm not buying the nonsense that he's not going to be good to go with his hand. I think that while they're probably not going to design a run for Herbert, not like they do a lot of designed runs for Herbert, that doesn't mean that he's not going to still find opportunities to take what the defense gives him and pick up some yards on the ground, which we've seen him do all season long. And when he does do it, he also picks up a lot of yards. Low rush attempts, but still a high average on yards gained for Mr. Justin Herbert. So that's a great way to start off with that three-legger at 1088 with the 25% boost that we got there. And let's go back to Vidal, actually. Now, his TD odds have moved a lot today. This was, let's look at the pricing chart here. I saw this at 333 before stream. I saw this at 340 before stream. I saw this at 320 before stream. As you can see here. Now let me clean up some of these books just to make it easier for the boys to see here. But look at this. This was where it was at 244 at 5 o'clock again. DK at 320. And then as we get closer to game time, that has just been dropping. Now 260 FanDuel, 265 DK, 305 at Novig. If you guys are interested in betting there, unfortunately, they're getting out of New York, and I don't think I should be. No, I can't deposit anymore there, because they're trying to make sure nobody's getting killed. And like Charger Steam has been out of this world also. I kind of want to chase. I'm not going to lie. That's like not the move to do. But let's just, while you have DraftKings open quickly. Did this move to 1? Still plus 1.5. But now Charger even money. This was 122 earlier. So let's go back to the game lines here. I don't want to, just make a bet to make a bet. But as somebody who had Chargers in my donation parlay at 3, now we're getting a 108 at Novig is the best price in market. So let's actually do some shopping here and see if we can even get better. No, it is really full-fledged Chargers Steam. Just got a message, Chargers Steam at the ass. Holy effing Chargers stream. That's exactly the only way to describe it. This is pretty real Steam also as well. Damn. I don't blame it though. Like, I think that because there was a lot of Trey Lance uncertainty, Herbert now being in unequivocally, like I think is obviously that was priced into the market for a little bit now, but I think that it's seen it just like kind of grow. You already looked at some injuries there, but this is some real steam. We're talking hour before game time. That means there's been sharp bettors placing real big time bets on the Chargers at this point to move the market this big on a game day here. So some first tutties now. Saquon being 6-1. I'm gonna fall into the trap, but like 6-1 is around the worst odds I'd play or the lowest odds I'd play for a guy like Saquon Barkley. Now I know it's been a terrible situation with him scoring. I know Jalen Hurts has been vulturing all these tutties, but that's interesting. AJB at 950 is also interesting, but let's start with some Chargers here. Lat 1120, but it's best at Novig. I'm going to take out Novig and profit for now. Herbert 35-1. I don't hate, honestly. Lat 11-1. QJ 13-1. Where is Gadsden here? 12-1. Where is what's his name? Keenan. Oh, there he is, 16-1. I'm gonna look into all these individually quickly. So FanDuel's at 15-1, 15-1. Let's see with Lad. Do we have first on here? We don't. I gotta go back here. Lad is open these in new tabs, so I'll just switch to those. Lad for a first tut is 11-1. 11-20 Novig, 10-1 at FanDuel. Okay. And then QJ, 13-1 at the score, 12-1 Caesars, 12-1 FanDuel, 11-1 DraftKings. So again, priced very straight up on both of these guys here, where I don't see an edge based on our normal I want to say formula. That's not the word, but how we normally go about betting first tutties. There's nothing that is showing clear bet me right this second signs, except for maybe Saquon right now. 650 at DK, like it's going to be as square as can be. Let's just confirm it's there because I might just lock this in really quickly here. 650. Him and Hurts are shared. I do want to just look at the numbers. Like 2025, only 2 games has he scored the first TUD. KC earlier in the season and the Giants. So again, Saquon, despite being Saquon, having 189 rushing attempts, is not only 2 first tutties, which is very low, but it could also call for regression there. Then you have Jalen Hurts, who this year has only ran for 1. Other first tutties could, of course, be Goddard, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith. They all get mixed in here. But I still kind of feel good about 650 for Saquon. 1 red zone rush attempt. It's also best price in the market. Looks like this is also, but actually Novik 7-1. Let's go back to Saquon really quickly here. Sorry, going through a bunch of same menus overall. Let's go back to this though. I'm going with Saquon, man. I'm going with Saquon. First tutty. It's ugly. Nobody loves to do it. We know we love betting the 27-1s, the 30-1s, the crazy long shot odds, and we have had success with those. But when you're getting a 650 on Quan, and again, I'm definitely not going to bet a Charger here. I'm going with Saquon. He's burnt me twice this year. I think only once this year, but on a first TUD. Not that I expect first TUDs to really ever hit, to be clear on that. They're first touchdown bets. But that being said, when it comes to those odds, I'm definitely interested in Saquon, even though, again, the hit rate's low. Hit rate doesn't really mean anything. The guy, again, from a red zone rush attempts, not as high as you'd love, honestly, but his overall rush attempts and a guy who does have that breakaway speed in a must-win game, like red zone rush attempts, I mean, it's only 1 more than Hurts, but they're the same odds, right? So this was like 3-1. Hurts was 7-1. Yeah, I'd be taking Hurts straight up, absolutely. But that's not the case. It's still the same odds, and while 1 more attempt isn't enough to like move the needle, it is still like a coin flip in that sense, where it really is who you think is going to get it. And I know that defense has done a really good job of like shutting down Quan moving forward whatsoever. But this is what it is. A quick little update here. Looks like these odds dropped a little bit, so that's nice for us. But I also want to look at rushing props, most rushing yards, because Saquon's going to be chalk. See, this is what I like and why I'm happy on that Vidal touchdown. Is Vidal is 4-1 with Omarion 4-10. Though the implied probability isn't that much greater, it is still showing that it looks like it would be the Vidal show. And let's look at what it would be at DK quickly. Most rushing yards. See, now in DK, it's flip-flopped here. I do definitely trust FanDuel's odds more. I'm definitely more in tune, but I think this is giving me a little bit of hope that Vidal isn't really just priced out of this or snapped out of this game. Let's look at his rush yards here. 39.5. That's minus 113 at DK. We still have that boost. Again, Philly's run defense not great. He's been boom. This is a definition of boom or bust. Holy crap. 95, 13, 126, 30, 117. That's hilarious. That's actually hilarious. Hasn't played any games with Hampton, of course, because I mean, that's not necessarily true, but obviously the Hampton injury is what's propelled him. I mean, let's just do a check here, because early in the season, yeah, he was definitely RB2. Didn't Hampton get hurt in this game, though, against Washington? And that's what brought Vidal in. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. And this is the last time on October 5th. This was the last time the Washington Commanders won a football game this year. I just want to point that out. And I know I had the Chargers in that game. And I know at this point I'm fully embracing the tank, but it's been 2 whole months since the Washington Commanders have won a football game. Team that was in the NFC Championship game last year. Just wanted to point that out there. Jared Patterson got some burn, though. Yeah, he's a long shot or bust for Jared Patterson. Let's see if anything pulling up in the EV galaxy. Let's see if anything new is popping. I have no straight bets on this game. All I have are the Quentin Johnston most receiving yards, the parlay of the Vidal tutty, Johnston over receiving yards, and Herbert rushing yards, and Saquon first tutty. So not looking like anything's going to change there, unfortunately. Herbert attempts under only at Hard Rock. For Hard Rock bettors, I will dive in 114, 110. So this is actually good. If you have Hard Rock and you're watching, I would bet this. This is a good EV, good DVIGs. I like that. Bizzle Biz going with Hamptons. Now the market has been flip-flopping. Just pulling up the other odds screen on my side quickly because I need to just watch Steam come in. I don't blame you. I'll pull them up. I just am. I don't want to say like I'm trying to purposely, be contrarian or anything like that, but I just don't see Hampton, who, while like showed some signs to start his rookie year, wasn't like the most efficient or like sick runner, coming off a pretty significant injury, just immediately taking over from Vidal. Now, 203 at Novig, best price in market, 190 DraftKings to 175 at FanDuel. I don't hate. I actually don't hate, especially when you do DVIG from Penny at Novig, though I do like the DVIG from Novig on these kind of markets. I'm not going to talk you off the ledge, Biz. I could be totally wrong. And, it is just Hampton show from the get-go, and like that's that. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think that Vidal is just not going to be taken out of the game plan. And also, I mean, Hampton's did some really good things in the passing game. Vidal's still capable there as well. I'm more concerned about that, like throwing him back into like the fire per se, and just like having him entirely dominate the rush share. I feel like that is like kind of unlikely. Now to score a touchdown, it doesn't have to dominate the run share. They could just be on the goal line. They hand it off to him. AEC, Trey Harris, 950 anytime for old time's sake. That was such a beauty, bro. That was such a beauty. That being said, man, Trey Harris is in the mix. He's in the mix. He's getting some love. I mean, if you wanted to bet a first touchdown, screw over the, no, what's it called? No boost. What's it called? Not the boost. The bonus bet jackpot, king of the end zone, whatever the hell they call it. we could just bet the first tutty and screw bonus bets, just actually be able to get some depositable cash there from Trey Harris. But speaking of Trey, I mean, I might as well look at the look at the number. This 900 at Novik, I actually kind of like. I'm not gonna lie for Herbert. Trey Harris, I mean, target share. So it's only 24 targets. Yeah, I mean, this isn't really news, but good to know. Isn't this awesome? Awesome. AEC, also awesome. I'm trying to say. One tutty. It's the one that we needed. Yeah, there it is. There it is. Great minds. One touchdown, the one time we needed it, a last tutty. And I think I fell asleep during that game. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty sure I woke up to see that. It wasn't even sweating that live, which honestly, sometimes that's what you need. But anytime TDs, yeah, 950, 1024, nothing going to be sticking out via the market there to entice that. So when it comes to like which charger we're going to bet to score, it's going to come down to like a first at this point, realistically. And we still will build this DraftKings boost, don't get me wrong. I'm going to do a refresh to see if the odds are going to freshen up a bit here. Because this is still showing 6-1, but we were just looking and we know it's 650. Could have moved though. Absolutely could have moved. And find out in 12 seconds here. All right, so we got in. We got in. We do what we had to do. Very nice. Very nice. Honestly, what's the total? I haven't really been too tapped into the total. That's like terrible by me. 42.5. So expecting a low scoring game. Obviously, a closely contested by the spread here with the full steam ahead on the Chargers. I mean, best price now plus 106. There were plus 125s on this game. We have our bird first tutty though. We have our bird, so we're going to stick to our Keenan. Is a potential. I don't hate Fidal, though 13-1, I don't think is that good or like sexy enough. I hate to say it, but with that being said, we've have had a lot of success betting on situations where the market seems to be kind of I don't want to say undervaluing. Actually, I think undervaluing is the right word, like undervaluing what the odds should be for a running back given their situation. Like, for example, yesterday with Chase Brown, like I know PHI was like harboring some snaps and actually did get a bit close there. PHI did get a goal line carry before Brown got a goal line carry, which ended up being our touchdown. That 13-1 with Hampton being 850. Now, Hampton 850 could be a discount similar to what I'm saying with like Saquon, considering again, if he does just roll on in and take over that backfield again, then like this honestly is a discount and probably a good bet. I mean, played in 5 games, scored the first one against Denver. The like first team TD is probably more like indicative of what a first touchdown could be. But I have open tabs for the guys I want to check out in more detail. So we'll switch on over in a second here. Trey Harris at 40-1. As much as I love our boy Trey for what he did for us, he's unfortunately not in that mix. Then Hassan Haskins, no way. Will Dissly. I mean, Will Dissly hitting would be crazy, but I'm not gonna dive in. But let's go through all these one more time here. So Keenan, best price is FanDuel DK. They're tied. So this is would just be gun to head there, or not gun to head. Would just be like balls on the table, I should say. Now Vidal best price on FanDuel, but Novig actually a better price. So from like how I like to bet my first tutties, I don't love that. Never scored first, but I don't think that makes a really big difference. Does have some big red zone rush share games. And let's even break it down a little bit more in detail. I mean, the games he turned up, he's getting the ball in the red zone. The games that he was kind of bad, he was not getting the ball in the red zone. And I might be overthinking this, or maybe I'm just big braining this, but I kind of feel like if you're a guy like Vidal, was he second-year player, draft Hampton, take his spot, comes in, plays some really good ball at times. Now Hampton's back. Is there not a time to like, sack up and prove like, no, I'm always still better than this guy. I'm still him. Like, I'm not just giving up my job that easily. It's potential food for thought there. Lad again, 11-1, better than FanDuel and Novig. So Lad is higher up on my board. So I'm not betting Keenan. Vidal is still debatable, but Ladd is all reliable, Mr. McConkey. I have two Ladd tabs open, so excuse that. Close that. QJ here, 13-1 at the score. Same price as profit. Better than Novig and FanDuel, though. We have QJ in that lay. Has hit some first tutties this year, including last week where we had Ladd and it was QJ, but that's there's no beef there. So it's between Ladd, QJ, and Vidal. And I want to go back quickly, just kind of monitor this. So even money at FanDuel, still best price. If you exclude Novig, you add Novig, they're going to have that 105, which is the best price. If you like the birds, I mean, obviously you're going to be feeding the market a bit here, but this is like the time to have gotten in. Let's do a quick Twitter search here. I'm not gonna share my screen just because I don't want any content to come up. But I want to see if there's like a okay, so we know Hampton's back, but like I just want to see if there's any coach speak about so in Monday night's game against the Eagles, Vidal's in line to work in a Chargers backfield that will welcome Omarion Smith back. It remains to be seen how heavy of a workload Hampton sees in his turn, but his presence is destined to impact Vidal's volume. Of course, I don't expect. This is a fantasy article, so like I'm not thinking about this for fantasy. I don't really care, right? If it's I know it's going to be a split. I just want to bet on a 50-50 split for Hampton and Vidal and not a 70-30 Hampton Vidal. That would obviously not be ideal. So like again, if your fantasy starts sit, like I don't pay attention to any of that, like miss me with that shit, honestly. But let's look at Hampton's rush attempts before the injury. So I know he was getting ramped up pretty decently, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so coming off the scene, I mean, hot 15-8, 19, 12 in a game they were losing, 12 in a game where we ended up getting hurt pretty early in that game. So you probably could have anticipated at least 5 more rushing attempts for Hampton. And this is really the $1 million question. Like Hampton at 850 is definitely, from a first touchdown perspective, again, like I said, an attractive price, because if you're getting a starting running back at 850, that is always ideal. But if Vidal is actually the starting running back or getting more of the love, then that's more of a deal. But again, back to Novig, still best price. FanDuel 800. I'm just gonna look manually because we're seeing some movement on Outlier. It's moving. Hampton dropped to 175. First dropped to 750 actually. So let's actually check DK. If this is still 8-1, this is 850 now. One quick second here because I'm gonna look at Circa other screen quickly here. Circa 850 for Omarion, Vidal, Circa 1300, MGM 14-1 actually for Vidal. I'm actually going Vidal. I've been talking about it, and I'm not seeing it on here, but I think it's on BetMGM. It doesn't show in odds for first tutties, but we'll pull it up manually to confirm here. Let's pull it up manually because Vidal's at 14-1. Circa's at 11-1 for Vidal. Unless that is the other screen I'm looking at is the lead here, but players first TD score: Hampton 850, Vidal 14-1, and Circa from a movement perspective was higher and then went back down. So I'm logging into MGM on my computer. That's what we're going with. I'm going with Vidal for the Chargers and Saquon for the Eagles. We have that FanDuel boost. We're going to utilize that in just a second here, but I'm about to get that one locked and loaded quickly. If it's Hampton, I'm not going to be too mad because I think our pricing was actually great. And I think we did a great job capitalizing on the market when we are finding a spot where we're betting the uncertainty to what we know the most. And I'll do one more Hampton search with the computer while I log in. But Hampton, for the record, can't spell. at Circa. First tutty is 850, so we're not getting value from Circa, and those who have been sticking with me knows that my, I guess, philosophy, for lack of a better word, for first touchdowns are to deviate from Circa, Bookmaker, Novig, ProfitX, and then FanDuel in that order. And because the price is the same at Novig, or excuse me, at Circa as it is at FanDuel, there's not like inherent value. And like, yes, of course, these guys can still score a touchdown anyway, and take off any perceived edge that I have. But I mean, chat can speak for me with the success we've had betting first touchdowns. I mean, I know AEC has been there for a ton of them. I know Biz has been there for a ton of them. I won't, obviously luck involved in the process, but I feel strongly that what we're doing is still at least the right process, and process over results always. So even if we weren't having the results, I still would feel good about it. But FanDuel boost it is. Actually, no, DraftKings boost is. We use the FanDuel boost, excuse me. So looking at the odds here, we already have an understanding. Now, at this point, betting the Chargers, I feel like, is probably just like square for a bit because of how much the market moved. We're like chasing some steam. Yeah, I mean, look at these freaking pre-made lays. Just gotta always take a look at these just for fun. I mean, Herbert under passing yards. That's his left hand is hurt, not his throwing hand, man. I know the Eagles are still gonna get some pass rush. I know the Chargers offensive line has been bad. Got Kate Dolan hanging out. What's up, baby girl? No, let's go back. Let's find some prices. So I want to look actually at the prop screen. I'm going to pull up the EV screen also just to have it handy and see if anything pops quickly. But Noving and Profit are seeing a lot. But again, like deviating from Noving and Profit is what I like to do. So I'm not really dying on betting those. And on my other screen, just put the odd screen rolling. See if any money of those come in. Okay. So I got to refilter this, do it really quickly. No, we got close to game time. We have all the fun bets that I like to bet anyway. Like obviously the boosts are good fun, but we have the first tutties we like. We have a lay that I love. And then that bonus with the Vidal, excuse me, the QJ most receiving yards. So passing attempts, pass TDs, pass completions. I must have. Maybe not, actually. There we go. Passing yards, receiving yards, recs, rush yards, rush attempts, and tutties. Okay. Over for easy filtering here. Game, of course, focusing just right here. This is only at 2 books. I'm not interested. Now, Keenan Allen at this point, 3.5. I mean, he's always an outlet. So I kind of am intrigued by an under for Keenan. Though his target share is still really high. Hurts passing touchdowns at 162, even 159 is actually intriguing to me, honestly, because while obviously Hurts is not timing, the games I feel like with Hurts, this is going to be not a ball knowledge take here, but I feel like the games where you expect him to not have a good passing game are the games where he turns up, like going back to his passing yards, even like the games where everyone's like, yo, Hurts is not a top 10 quarterback, which he's obviously not. He's definitely closer to 25 than he is 10. Are the games where he does explode, but explode against a bad Minnesota defense, a bad Dallas defense, a Chicago defense, 230 is definitely not an explosion, a bad Giants defense, and a Denver's defense that, like, while I've been high on and like still want to give them their flowers, I think it's fair to say that defense isn't as good as anticipated. I mean, beating the Raiders doesn't prove anything. Freaking commies blew out the Raiders a few weeks back, but defensive here, passing yards overall. If you look at some of the quarterbacks against recently, this is for yards. I want to go back to touchdowns. This is so interesting to me, honestly. It's not like this secondary is really so good by any means. It's like kind of not. These are 4 terrible quarterbacks, We did get Gino to go over there last week. Hurts is not much better than these guys, don't get me wrong, and Trevor's isn't terrible, but you guys know what I mean. He's not great. Though he does get a ton of pass attempts off. The fact that he couldn't even get over, I mean, that's a game that they didn't have to. They dominated them on all facets of the game there. But DraftKings 159. Okay, we're gonna lay off that for now. I'm trying to find the best prices here. Let's go like if we just devig FanDuel DraftKings realistically, or just keep them in our view and see where DraftKings has the better numbers, like compared to FanDuel, like passing yards right there. The River's still here. Let me just get them all off. I'm just curious. This is a little bit of an experiment here because I'm going to just look at the books that I know I like to like devig from. So FanDuel, Novig, Profit, and honestly Kalshi. And I'll see where DraftKings has the worst price still in market. Like right here, it's not worse than Novig, but it is than Profit X. And I think it is kind of like bucking the ability. Now, a lot of people I think are like fixated on the fact that he's not going to throw it a lot. They got Hampton back. They're going to just run it. We know Harbaugh loves to establish the run, but Greg Roman has done a good job passing all season long. And you can SGP these overs on DK, if I'm not mistaken. So, you know, banged up, got smoked them. Titans, I mean, special teams off the field for a lot of the game. Smoked them, but then in some like closely contested games, he's slinging the rock. 31.5 feels a bit low. I mean, still like a much heavier pass team. Let's build based off that. I think I like this. And from the market perspective, I like it too. So it's going to be EV with the boost. Can SGP. So let's start there. Let's start with Herbert over passing attempts. See where else we're finding just clear value between DK compared to other books. Now, Hurts over passing yards is showing. I actually like that. So we'll do a little bit of a QB battle here. We're going to take the extra yard for the odds. This is better at it's 110. What was I looking for? Even money? I was looking for 110. Okay. This is good. So two quarterbacks ready getting us started. And there's one more leg that we have to add. Can add more if we want to get a little bit crazy with it. See where the odds are just better. Completions, no. Attempts not needed for completions, as we know. 125 here for Brown over 5.5. Don't hate. Lad 215. Vidal, we got our best boy Vidal already. Got our QJ 233. Don't love. And then we're already kind of out of options here. Let's look at just touchdowns. We got a touchdown and we're done with this lay, honestly. What's Saquon? Saquon's 105. I mean, plus money for Quan. We've kind of been getting that a lot more, and he hasn't been scoring. We know it's the drill. He hasn't been reliable by any means. Smitty 240, QJ 260. Now, DK not giving out any really great prices for what we want to see here. Let's go back here. Now we could add some Hampton to like kind of limit our exposure from Vidal. But actually, what if we even do this right now? LAC money line. That's 8-1. So this is going to get us to 10-1 with the boost. I'm going to build this and see what the boost is. Also going to quickly build on FanDuel, though I don't think you can parlay SGP completions on FanDuel. But I could be wrong. Yeah. I don't even see the market. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Can't. And we're looking at completions or attempts. We're looking at attempts for Herbert. So, yeah, it's a whole yard off. Though you can't SGP it. I would expect actually DK to be a bit sharper in that market just because like they have to limit their exposure a bit because they're accepting it in SGPs. But pass attempts Herbert. Again, 8-1. 20% boost. We're at 960, so it's not getting us there. That being said, not that we need the 10-1, but you guys know how I feel about it. It's just so much sexier hitting the 1 to win $10 slip, getting $10 back for your dollar versus anything else. So where would that, I guess, alternate leg be? Let's show some alternate lines on. Are we don't touchdowns? No, we're coming up against game time, but we're quite literally a leg away from locking in our final bet and moving on here. Could do one passing touchdown for Herbert. Actually, don't hate that. Just to get us to 10-1. I mean, obviously we got to find bets still with value. We're not skimping on value or anything like that. We're sticking true to what we do. Yes, we're betting a 3-leg parlay 5 minutes before the game starts, so not expecting to like maximize our EV and be sitting with the sexiest ticket in the world, but we're still gonna be sitting with a nice ticket and using some ball knowledge. When it fits, it fits. That's 6 markets right there. Am I missing receptions? I feel like I am. I'm just so okay. No, we're not. All right, we have alt lines. I mean, we're going all the way deep down here. Let's keep going, keep going. See now, where's DK like kind of off market on some of these? This QJ 15. I mean, we already have QJ, but that is like off compared to FanDuel. I mean, I never hate doubling down on guys that we love, so I could definitely be intrigued and just throw the QJ in there regardless. We'll see if we find even bigger discrepancy to lock in. But so far, QJ is the leader in the clubhouse. Smitty, but we're going for 40 plus yards there, which like 15 versus 40. I mean, obviously target shares and game scripts are a bit different, but nah, it's the QJ game. It's the QJ game. Not seeing massive differences. AJB 5 catches, though. That's interesting, though. We know AJB's obviously had a ton of issues this year from getting the ball thrown to him issues. Not that he's himself is having issues. Our boy Trey Harris, a little bit of love here. 10 receiving yards, 113. That's actually not too shabby, honestly, especially from a market. I'm assuming you mean an alt at this point, because if you don't, the answer is absolutely not, because of how the market moved. Like, you're literally just betting the worst number. But if you have a game line that's the Chargers -1.5 that hasn't adjusted, and honestly, AAC, thanks for reminding me, because I haven't even looked at my game lines here, though don't see anything anyway. If you see an EV for Chargers -1.5 at plus money that is EV to the market, I would bet that. If your only available option to bet right now is Chargers -1.5, that is worse than the best in market, and is you buying the absolute low or the high, whichever you want to take it as, which is where you don't want to be. You want to be, as we talk about, the quick, obvious, early, easy market comparison. You want to be buying low, selling high. You would be buying them at the worst price where there's no upside if you're getting it at like -110 or even money. With that being said, like I said to begin that, if you do have a Chargers -1.5 at plus money, devict to 2 or 3 books, then yeah, absolutely. Straight bet, Chargers -1.5, even money or worse. No, that's just horrible market timing. And like, I could almost guarantee, unless Kamani Vidal runs a 90-yard touchdown run to start the game, and then they get a stop on the birds, that you can probably find even a better price at some point during the game. So absolutely, bro. Anytime. Appreciate obviously love all the questions, but yeah. Like, even adding the Chargers to the lay, like we're doing now, I don't love the fact that I'm doing it. This is a bit of a ball knowledge, and we're going for anything that we can lock in just before we start here. If we add, just to like really pivot again really quickly, QJ 15, does this see if it even gets this 10-1? It does. I'm interested. I just want some exposure for the Chargers at this point, and in again a little bit of a lay that I could lock in. I'm not going to be like, it's a leg that I feel confident in. It's like my ball knowledge leg, which Again, just because we're so close to game time, I'm interested in that. But you add this QJ, it's 950 with the boost. That's 1140. I locked in as well. So that's going to wrap it up. Let me read through everything that we bet for today one more time for everybody who's just piling in. And then we can hopefully hit ourselves a beautiful, beautiful bet and get ready for week 14's conclusion. All right, tracker. Good. All right. So we have locked and loaded 4-leg lay on DK. You see it right here. Herbert over 31.5 pass attempts. Hurts 200 plus passing yards. LAC money line. QJ 15 plus rec yards. First touchdowns, Kamani Vidal and Saquon Barkley. FanDuel Tutty boost. Vidal anytime. QJ over 33.5. Herbert 15 plus rushing. And a fun market, most receiving yards of the game, Quentin Johnston. Out of curiosity, while I'm here, I want to see if he did pick up any value here on that. Actually went to 12 to 1. Market told me to screw myself. Look at FanDuel, though, because FanDuel had the better price or the worst price. But I do respect FanDuel's lines more in these markets. QJ 11 to 1, but that was 9 to 1 before. So we're sitting in the middle price between both of them. Not losing sleep over that. It's obviously a long shot regardless. And then rushing, most rushing yards. Vidal still 390 to 410. Not getting involved. Quickly check DK. Oh, because you went back down to 11 to 1. I think we have a good ticket, boys. I'm not going to lie. That was quick as hell. We'll see what happens. But I think that from a price value perspective that we did well. Then I just want to check. I'm going to check passing. Might as well. Because I think that Hurts could definitely be live, but these odds aren't going to be crazy. They even offer it here. Could have scrolled past it too quickly. Not even seeing it here. Rushing out of curiosity. Don't see any late ads coming on in, but do want to see. Yeah, so now Hampton and Vidal are tied. As we remember, Hampton had better odds on DK, and I'll check passing one more time on FanDuel, just out of curiosity. Yeah, Hurts only 118, so there wouldn't be any value there whatsoever. Now, one more last thing I'll check while we're here for the boys. I'll see if there's any 2 touchdowns worth betting quickly. Just looking at the market on the other screen quickly before I lock in, but don't think there will be. But out of curiosity, I mean, not betting any defensive players or deep down the boards. Herbert 2 is honestly interesting. All right. I actually found one that I'm kind of interested in. Did not expect to. But if we're going to go by our theses right now of what's going to be the more likely thing to happen, I think there's absolutely worth putting in a sprinkle on, you guessed it, Kamani Vidal. I don't know if the Chargers really score all that many touchdowns. With that being said, looking at the market, I mean, if we are right with our thesis on Vidal, then this is absolutely worth a sprinkle. I'm betting it right now. So Kamani Vidal, 2+ touchdowns, obviously highly unlikely, 33 to 1. But Hampton being in this market, Hampton being 12 to 1, where we're again bucking every trend that Hampton just comes back and dominates his role, which I don't think has anything to do with skill and talent. Like, again, I'll be on stream on Wednesday, so if I'm so off, Hampton dominates the run share, Vidal's an afterthought, feel free to talk shit and tell me I can tell you so if you're a Hampton backer, but I just bet that Vidal. I think that we could be in a situation where it's just mispriced. It's just we're getting better odds than we should be on something that is absolutely not guaranteed to be like a Hampton just gets all the red zone stuff. If they're to run, I'll gladly fuck around and find out, boys. So thank you everybody for hopping in chat. I appreciate it. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button. It really does help the channel grow. We've been growing pretty massively, boys. So got some great content coming out this week. I have a couple of videos coming. And if you're watching on X and you want to try Outlier, click the link under the description, under the tweet to give it a try. If you're watching YouTube, you can also give it a try as well. Click the link in the description. Good luck tonight, boys. Let's hopefully talk about a fun ass cash on Wednesday's stream. I'll see you guys then.